So I track 925 housing markets every single month, and here's what you need to know. So there's basically three types of housing markets in any given location, and that's going to be a seller's market where sellers have kind of control of the market. There's so many buyers and not enough inventory that there's usually multiple offers and two or more buyers for any given house. So that's a seller's market. And then we have a balanced market where there's an equal amount of inventory and an equal amount of buyers, and there's usually one buyer for any given house. And then you have a buyer's market, which is where you have so much inventory and very few buyers happening that prices are coming down and it's making homes affordable again. So in the United States, we haven't really seen that in probably a decade. Like home inventory had been shrinking and there were just lots of buyers, and so we've been in like this chronic state of sellers markets for a very long time. And so over the last couple of years with high interest rates, we're finally starting to see that shift. I know some analysts have been calling for this. It's just the housing market moves very, very slow. So if you've been following a housing analyst saying like the sky is falling and like the market's going to crash, like just know that it takes a lot for the housing market to actually crash, but shifts happen very slowly. So let's get into the housing markets where I'm seeing affordability come back first. So obviously Florida is kind of a stigmatized market, or I don't know if that's the word, but there's definitely issues there with the homeowners insurance rising because of the hurricanes. And so insuring a house in Florida is now more expensive, and people are trying to sell their houses, and inventory has been piling up in Florida because of that side of the affordability factor with homeowners insurance. And I'm sure there's other things happening in Florida too. Obviously, homes were kind of devastated along the coast from the last category, I think it was 4 hurricane that we just had. So let's talk about the markets. The top basically 5 markets on the buyer's market sheet are going to be Naples, Florida, Cape Coral, Miami, Daytona Beach, Northport, Bradenton are the top 5 where we're seeing inventory start to stack up. We're seeing price reductions from 70 to 120%, depending on the market. Naples is seeing 120% price reduction increase month over month. So there's a lot going on in Florida as a whole. So if Florida isn't your jam because of the hurricanes and the cost of the homeowners insurance and things like that, there are other markets where we're starting to see price reductions increase and buyer demand is pretty low. So we're talking San Antonio, Texas, or Orlando is actually another one in Florida, but we have Orlando, Houston, Texas, Tampa, St. Pete's, Florida, Las Vegas, Phoenix. Which is interesting about Phoenix is that Phoenix has been holding its value. It was one of the ones that kind of has been sitting in balance and moving back into a seller's market to a balance, and now it is full-fledged into a buyer's market where we are now seeing that the market strength is about 30%. So Phoenix is one where prices are starting to come down. The month over month price reductions are up 50%. There's a lot of homes that have slashed their prices compared to the actual number of inventory in Phoenix. So Phoenix is another one to look at. New listing count in Phoenix is about 8,300, and there's about 5,000 actual pendings. It doesn't include, so if you're a real estate agent and you're listening to this, it doesn't include the active with contingency numbers. It's just straight pendings. So 5,000 straight pendings, and I'm sure there are other active contingent listings as well. But Phoenix is one that is definitely on the radar. It's starting to deteriorate there as far as seller strength. So affordability coming back there. We have Jacksonville, Atlanta, Riverside, San Bernardino, California, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, Myrtle Beach, and Austin, Round Rock to round out this list. So those are the biggest markets where we're starting to see the markets weaken. We're starting to see price reductions increasing, and inventory overall increasing. I think the ones that have the most new listing counts, let's look at this. So if Dallas Fort Worth is seeing a barrage of new listings with 8,500 homes, Atlanta has 8,000 homes. Phoenix had 8,300 homes. Houston had 8,000 homes, and Miami had 12,000 homes come to the market. So lots of stuff happening in these buyers markets. Now, to put this into perspective, buyers markets have always been, in the last 10 years, like the smaller percentage. And right now today, out of the 925 markets that I track, buyers markets now make up 515 of these markets. So we're seeing 55% of the markets are now in a buyer's market. And then we have the other 251 markets are in balance and they're slow. And it may take you to find that one buyer, because like I said, a balanced market is one house to one buyer, but it still may take you a while to find that one buyer in a balanced market. And then we have 157 sellers markets. So the sellers markets right now that have the most in like major metros, we're seeing in New York, Philadelphia, Washington, especially upstate New York, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Kansas City, Seattle, still very busy, Baltimore, Maryland, Raleigh, North Carolina. So we're still seeing a good amount of strength in those markets there if you're thinking about selling your home. So thanks, guys.